All right, happy Wednesday night, everybody. Welcome into the daily broadcast coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios. If your air was not Arctic today, you need to call the bear. If your compressor blows up, you need to call the bear. If you're worried about winter and winter is coming, you need to call the bear. Callthebear.com. All right, a lot of stuff to get to tonight. It's What If Wednesday. We're going to talk about what if the Big 12 never hired Brett Yormark? How would things be different in your opinion? We got NCAA portal changes, and they're getting rid of the letter of intent, the old national letter of intent. We told you a story today on 60 Seconds of Raiderland, which, if you caught it, you already know what we're going to tell you about, but a little history and how a Texas Tech official created the national letter of intent. I bet you guys didn't know that. All right, so you guys know what to do. The early arrivals, first in, let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Share this with your friends. We want to hear from you, whether you're on Twitter and X, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. And we want everybody out there to subscribe to all the channels. Watch where you want. Watch where you want, but subscribe to all the channels. That way it grows Raiderland. So in three, in two, good evening, West Texans. All you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com, where you start your day. You did that today. You checked out the cool Raiderland hot links for Wednesday. You know the question we're asking tonight. What if Wednesday, now on Wednesdays, alt history, what if something didn't happen? What if something happened differently? We ask you tonight, what if the Big 12 never hires Brett Yormark as commissioner? What do you think happens with the league? You tell me. All the communications brought to you by United Market Street, United supermarkets all around West Texas and beyond into the Metroplex. They support Texas Tech, unlike some supermarkets around the state, even right here in the Hubaplex. You know who I'm talking about. All right. Brought to you tonight by Sideline Provisions, owned and operated by great Red Raiders, longtime Red Raiders. They want you to look good. They want you to wear the coolest Red Raider fashion. Hats, shirts, you name it. They got cool stuff. You can find it at Quarter Four. That's the old Cardinal Sports Center. They're on South Loop 289 and Slide Road. You can, on our links, go right to the webpage. And if you live outside of Lubbock, Texas, you can order it online. I mean, come on. Golf course, office, game. Look good every day. Sideline Provisions. The OG on the Guns Up logo that you've seen over the last few years. Those are the guys who created it. Also brought to you by The Reserve. They're on 103rd and Quaker. Great menu. Always evolving. Fantastic atmosphere. Not a sports bar, but they do show the games there because they got these things called television. Yeah, television. And they've got awesome Sunday brunch, awesome Saturday brunch, 10 to 2 on the brunch menu. Check out The Reserve. My man Nick making it happen over there. All right, let's get it going tonight. What if the Big 12 never hires that guy named Brett Yormark? How do you think things are different? You want to talk Tech football tonight? We can. Told you yesterday, it's okay to be excited about Texas Tech potentially playing in a Big 12 championship game. They have, if not the inside track, they've got as good a schedule as anybody else. Why not Tech? And then we'll get to the portal changes in the NIL story. Let's see. D. Wayne is on Facebook. No, that's YouTube. I screw that up so many times. You saying Facebook. On YouTube, our YouTube channel, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on YouTube. Please subscribe. Dr. Hyatt, you there? No, the doctor is not in. Craig, the talking box is on. Indeed, Craig, the talking box is on. And we eagerly await everyone as they join in, get their comments in, or anything else. So how different do you think the Big 12 would be if Brett Yormark is not hired in 22? Now, the wheels were already in motion to bring the first 4 teams in. But this is before the dissolution of the Pac-12. And it's when Yormark shows up that it's the Big 12 and the Pac-12, the death match. Except the Pac-12 didn't know it. The Pac-12 still thought they had a collegial relationship with the Big Ten and maybe even the ACC. So Yormark comes in, obviously goes to work. We're open for business, the famous quote. If it's not Yormark, if it's anybody else, if it's somebody else, it could have been maybe maybe Kirby Hocutt, Tech AD. But if it's not Yormark, how different do you think the landscape is for the conference? How different do you think the landscape is for Texas Tech today? That's the What If Wednesday question. Now, here's the NCAA news today. So the coaches have been saying, we got to change the transfer portal dates and everything else. This is killing us. You know, it used to be 60. It's been 45. It's too long. We got to do this. So the NCAA said, okay, here's what we're going to do. 30 days. And for basketball, the transfer portal opens up. Wait for it. Why would it not? After round 2 of the NCAA tournament. Think about that for just a wee little bit, shall we? After round 2 of the NCAA tournament, your biggest championship is going on. And that's when they think, oh, this is a good idea to open the portal for 30 days. You can't wait till April 1st. Till like everybody but like 4 teams are done. So they shorten that. Football, let me see if I've got this right. I've got to go back to the notes on football. On 3, doing a great job reporting this today. In college football, athletes will have a 20-day window in the winter, 10 days in the spring. For the current year, those dates will be December 9 to December 28. So if you're playing in a bowl game, basically if you're playing in a bowl game, that's the window right now. Then it closes on the 28th or after the 28th, April 15 to 25. So you do your spring football early. You know, we used to do spring football. I don't know about you guys. I actually did spring football in the spring. We had it like in late April and May. It was in the, well, anyways, April 16 to 25, another 10 days. In all sports, an additional 30-day notification of transfer window will continue to open for student athletes the day after the departure of the head coach is announced. So if you lose your head coach, you got a month to decide, do I want to play for the new coach or not? You can go anywhere else. The other interesting thing today is that they get rid of the national letter of intent, right? I'm going to go here and I've signed a letter of intent, and all right, we're all good and everything's good on that. We're going to go forward. They get rid of that today, and that was the subject of our commentary today. And we want to hear from you guys, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter X, or on anything else that we may be out there. We want to hear from you. Nat still today. Your thoughts, your comments on a What If Wednesday. The letter of intent was actually created by a Texas Tech official, J. William Davis, Texas Tech athletic chair, 1957. As Tech's going into the Southwest Conference, everybody around the country was having problems with, a guy had signed a scholarship in one conference and another one over here, another is a mess. He didn't even have what used to be the UIL, the Texas Interscholastic League, whatever it was, TIL. They didn't even recognize the Southwest Conference letter of intent at the time in the late 50s. So J. William Davis shows up at the NCAA meetings in the summer of 1957 in Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor and gets himself elected chairman of the committee that is going to look at this thing. And out of that committee, out of that thing that summer comes what we now know as the National Letter of Intent. It was created by a Texas Tech official. It pretty much stayed intact over the years from when it was created by J. William Davis, who served into the late 60s, early 70s in some form or fashion there with the Texas Tech Athletic Department, that it was a Texas Tech guy, as Tech was going into the Southwest Conference, that created the letter of intent that the NCAA got rid of today. Now, why can they get rid of it today? It's pretty easy. They don't need it. They've got contracts. You're signing NIL contracts. You're signing pro contracts Now, the NIL pretty much is, well, not pretty much, it's done. You don't need it. But I really wonder how many Texas Tech people over the years knew that the actual creation of it occurred right here out of Lubbock, Texas, that it was J. William Davis. Now, if you ever had a breakfast or a lunch at the Tech Athletic Dining Hall back in the day, you ate in the J. William Davis Dining Hall over there by the Chitwood Weymouth Complex. Of course, back in the 70s, 80s, into the 90s, the Weymouth was where most of the male athletes lived, Chitwood where most of the female athletes lived, and then Coleman, leftovers like myself. Hi there. Happy to be a proud Coleman Hall representative. So they named the dining hall after him. What the hell is that? And again, I don't think most of the athletes, most people didn't know that that's where the national letter of intent came from, right out of a Texas Tech original. So we all got all that going on. Looking for you guys to get your comments in, your questions, your thoughts. Texas Tech football in the open week. I know a lot of people are kind of divesting this week and checking out. And that's fine. That's okay. But I think it's also okay to sit back and look at the schedule and go, yeah, they've got a legitimate chance to get to the Big 12 title game. I didn't say win it. I don't know. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But let's start, before we talk about winning a Big 12 championship, let's talk about getting to the title game. And if not Texas Tech, who? If not the Red Raiders, what are the other schools right now in the Big 12 that you just sit there and say, yeah, you can't get past? They don't exist. They're not out there. You're as even as anybody else going into it this year in Tech. I think Tech fans need to approach it that way and enjoy it that way and say, everybody now, we're playing on the same field, same footing. Texas gone, Oklahoma gone, Oklahoma dominating for years. Texas thinks they had, but they really had. And then the what if Wednesday tonight. Other things, can we talk about trying to kill weather people? Why do we have to send weather people, reporters, sometimes meteorologists, sometimes not? Why do we have to send them out into the weather to know that the weather is bad? I'm watching, I think it was Fox News National, and they got a guy out by Bradenton. He's got the bicycle helmet on, and the waves are rocking and everything else. I'm like, nobody's going to be satisfied until we get somebody killed doing this. The networks, the people, and then the people decry how bad it is, and they'll share it on Twitter, and they'll share it on Facebook and social media. Somebody's going to get killed going out there. We have the ability to put out remote cameras. I don't need an actual physical person in front of the camera telling me it's windy. Yeah, we know it's windy. Waves are up. Yeah, we know the waves are up. You come out here, you could die. Well, you're out there. What are we doing? Why are we going through this? And this one tonight is another example of that. We pray for the people there in Florida, in South Florida, but I'm sorry, the idiots who go out there, you're not reporting on a war. You're not a war correspondent. You're standing in a hurricane for no reason whatsoever. None. Nothing changes that we don't know if you're not there. War correspondence, I get it. From Ernie Pyle on. Shout out Ernie Pyle. But you guys ain't Ernie Pyle, all right? All right, we'll hang out as long as everybody wants to hang out tonight on a beautiful Wednesday in West Texas. This is great weather out here right now. Yeah, it's a little warm, but it's dry, and it is finishing off a cotton crop that a lot of ag producers needed these last 2 to 3 weeks of warm, dry weather to try to make something out of it. So if you're in town and you're kind of griping about, it's October, it's hot. No, we kind of need this right now. Getting back to the comments brought to you by United Supermarket. It is What If Wednesday. Every Wednesday from now on, we give you a what if question. What if Brett Yormark, never hired by the Big 12 to be the athletic or commissioner? How different would things be? You tell me. He is, Chris, he is on Facebook, especially in the age of so many cameras that can be operated remotely. I assume you're talking about the Hurricane and not the Big 12, although could be interesting. Craig, we send reporters out into hurricanes because Saturday Night Live needs new material. Did anybody see the Saturday Night Live sketch this week? Random, out of nowhere, the golfer, golf tournament, and the golfer, every shot he hits basically kills an animal. Kills a bird in mid-flight. Hits a bird nest in a tree. Nest falls down. Oh, it's bald eagles. Goes and hits his ball. It's not his ball. It's a bald eagle egg. Throws his club into the lake. Kills the turtle. Fairway Freddy. That was one of the funniest things I've seen on Saturday Night Live in a long time. It wasn't even making fun of Trump, which I didn't know they could do that. Your average Ring doorbell camera can show you the weather outside. Amen, Chris. Amen. Probably would still be there probably would still be the Pac-12 if Yormark wasn't the commissioner. And that's the big what if on that. Who survives? If Yormark is not here, we're open for business. The Big 12 is aggressive. You've already reached out and you're bringing in the 4 initial teams. The Pac-12 is still alive, limping along. Who survives out of the Pac-12 or the Big 12 if Yormark's not commissioner? That to me is the biggest fundamental question right there. Do they pick at the edges of the carcass? Does the Big 12 think, oh, we're fine, we don't have to do anything? Or does somebody maybe potentially come into the Pac-12 and think we can get Big 12 teams, that the Big 12 is still weak after Bowlesby and whoever replaces Bowlesby, if it's not Yormark? That becomes the question to me, is what happens. Because, I mean, we were sitting there while all this was going down before Yormark, and even after Texas and Oklahoma leave, a lot of people, myself included, looking at the Pac-12 thinking that could be a safe harbor. That's a legitimate conference. We thought they were still a legitimate conference, that even with Larry Scott, and then after they hired the guy from the casino, whose name I just forgot, never could pronounce, and you guys are going to remember before I can, that, okay, hey, this is a safe harbor. It's Pac-12, man. Bill Walton, conference champions, right? You go out there. You go. They make you a deal. You go. Tech, Oklahoma State, you get out there. Screw Kansas. They want to go to the Big East. We don't care. Does that become the biggest question? Klaikoff, thank you very much. Chris gets in there on Klaikoff. What happens even after you do the 4 invites to Cincinnati, UCF, Houston, and whatever the other team was. I'm sure there was another one that came in. Jason is on our YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody on YouTube. If you like what we do, give us a thumbs up, share it, grow it. We're cruising. We want 500 YouTube followers by the end of the month of October. And we really kind of ramped up YouTube this summer into football. Gnats flying around. Thank you for being out there. Good evening from Utah. Just got here. Have you talked about Operation Rudy today or this week? I don't know what the hell Operation Rudy is. I don't know if that's like a Utah thing. Fill me in. Tell me what the hell Operation Rudy is, and I'll tell you my thoughts on it. I got nothing for you on Operation Rudy. Does that have something to do with, I don't know, Notre Dame? Like walk-ons trying to play? I don't know. Either way, Jason, glad you're out there. What if the Big 12 never hires Brett Yormark? The what if question this week. We're killing weathermen, weather reporters. Why are we doing that? And then we told you the story. And if you missed it, you can check out 60 Seconds of Raiderland, the daily commentary, how a Texas Tech official, that's another net, actually created the national letter of intent. I think the more interesting thing today is I don't know, it's kind of getting lost in the shuffle. Basketball coaches can be happy. They wanted a shorter portal, and don't a lot of people. Let me tell you. But to start it after the second round of the NCAA tournament makes no sense to me whatsoever. That you just started April 1st, right? April 1st, April 31st, 30 days. I, I mean, the bigger question is why is the NCAA even doing this at this point? Well, somebody's got to, even though none of it matters, and the NCAA will cease to exist fairly soon. But I guess they feel like we got to issue something, so we do this. But I don't get it, you know. Back to Jason there on YouTube. It's the latest proposal for college football, spearheaded by 3 Disney executives, 70 teams in a super conference. Oh, we've been talking about that for damn near 30 years. It's what's going to happen, de facto or otherwise, whether it's through Disney or ABC or CBS or yeah, you're gonna major football is going to separate from the NCAA and everything else. You're going to have about 60 to 70 football teams playing each other, geographically split into divisions, just like the NFL. There will be no conferences overseeing football. There will just be a super league, and that's what's going to happen as they unravel the current TV contracts over the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Could happen quicker. Contracts are made to get out of. So, hadn't seen that latest version. Says Project Rudy, not operating. Yeah. Either way, well, yeah, that's where we're going, and that's what the colleges want because they're going to make a crap ton of money. Basketball is going to be a separate deal on the men's side. If the NCAA somehow still exists and conferences as the way we see them today, it'll have baseball, women's basketball, the other sports. You're going to have more players. No, you're going to have more players, says Chris, entering the portal immediately after the team loses in the tournament. Yeah. Or what if you got a guy who doesn't play in the first 2 rounds, right? Guy didn't play in the first 2 rounds, and he's mad, so he leaves like mid-tournament. I mean, I really don't care. Didn't bother me. The timing of it, wait 2 weeks. That's basically the third week of March. I'm looking at my calendar like it goes out that far. So it's the third week of March. Just start the 30 days at the end of April, even the last week of March. Now, that's going into the Final Four. So you basically only got 4 teams that are still playing, right? Start it then. Stupid. Didn't matter. National letter of intent changed to name, image, and likeness. Yeah. Yeah, the original national letter of intent written by J. William Davis, Texas Tech athletic chair, 1957, which still fascinates me to this day that, this was even before, well, Tech was in the Southwest Conference. They weren't playing. And that's not technically true. They weren't playing in football until 1960. The Tech golf squad won the Southwest Conference championship, I believe, in 1957 with John Farquhar. Fact check me on that, Don Williams. I think John Farquhar and can't remember somebody else here locally on that team. And the basketball may have started that year as well. Think maybe, yeah. Chris, a Tech guy was also responsible for creating Lunchables. That is true. That is factual. That it was a Tech grad who created the Lunchable in the 80s. We bring you everything here on this show. Lunchables, National Letter of Intent, you name it. You tune into this thing, you learn crap that you didn't know. But yes, And of course, the late voice of Del Gribble, Texas Tech Red Raider. So all that. Craig, little known fact: Texas Tech was the first college football team to fly to a game. That is true. That is true. In the early 30s, Texas Tech flies to Detroit, played the University of Detroit. Pete Cawthon, the head coach. There are photographs of them on the plane. There are other schools that claim that they were the first team to play. And I want to say Tech went up there in 32 or 33, somewhere in through there, to play that game. There are teams that claim that they were the first to fly, that they didn't have all of their team fly, but they had some members of the team fly. All right, the starters got to fly, but we're going to break you up, offense and defense, in case something bad happens. But Texas Tech, for the most part, I think still gets credit for being the first team to fly to a road game. Texas Tech at Detroit, I want to say 32-33. I've got the documentation just off to the desk over here. I just can't look it up right now. I mean, I could. It would make for very, very bad broadcasting for me to grab a book and everything else. So, whatever. I wonder what the in-flight meal was. That's great. I mean, judging from the flight, it looked pretty swanky. I mean, back in the day, you got dressed up, you did all sorts of cool stuff getting on. But no, it didn't look like it was too palatial. And I wonder how long it took going Lubbock to Detroit, if they had to refuel, whatever. But yeah, Texas Tech, amongst most circles, credited with that. Tender Tyrant, great book. I'm talking about a book about Pete Cawthon. I have that right over there by Etta Lynch, the author. That's good. Also, The History of the Red Raiders that came in 1978 does a great documentation of all the early years and everything else. If you can find either one of those two books, get them on your bookshelf if you're a Texas Tech fan. If you want to know the history of Tech football from its inception, certainly through the 70s, Tender Tyrant obviously focuses on Pete Cawthon, the head coach, who was run out of town on a rail in 1939-40. They hated him. He wouldn't play Southwest Conference teams. He insisted on playing a national schedule. Then he got Texas Tech kicked down to the border conference and put on probation because of, you play one 39-year-old player and everybody gets out of shape. People forget how ugly it was at the end of the Pete Cawthon era. The winningest coached by percentage and for the longest time by win total. Obviously, Cotton Bowl undefeated team, only undefeated team regulation. People have forgotten about that and they focus on Mike Leach and they act like things have never happened. That's another gnat. Did I kill it? I don't know. But people just don't know their history. And that's the way it goes. But yeah, Tender Tyrant by Etta Lynch. I think she was a librarian at Texas Tech. If you can find it, it's really good. Showed the border conference beating both Arizona schools. Damn right. Tech has owned Arizona from the 30s on. What is it, 27 and 5 now or something? Please talk to me, Wildcats. Arizona State, you weren't even good enough to be in the border conference when Tech was running it. What if the Big 12 never hires Brett Yormark? It's kind of a think piece. If we can go to the movie Almost Famous, it's kind of a think piece a little bit. What I want you to do is think on it tonight. Then go to the website and today's column and go post in the comment section, because it's probably one of those that's easier to really type out a response, write out a response, and put that. We don't run a message board at theraiderland.com, but we love comments. We love comments. But we don't. It's not a message board. You're not going to go back and forth with people. You're not going to do that sort of stuff. That's fine. Message boards are for that. I'm not knocking the message board. I'm just saying we don't run one. But we love comments. And this topic each week, I think, is going to be, it's going to be fine on here as you guys get used to it. But it's really, I think, dovetails to the website, and that you can go there and you can post your thoughts on that. I hope you do. If you don't want to go to the website, you can go to our Facebook page, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook, and hopefully everybody is signed up on our YouTube channel and getting in on that, growing that, everything else. It's an open week, but we are never done here in Raiderland. Tomorrow, what we had been doing on Wednesday, we're doing tomorrow. Over, underrated, right Thursday. Now we'll give you a topic, and you guys will tell us things that are overrated, underrated, and rated right about the topic. We'll post that in the morning. We'll have our hot links and everything else. Then we'll get to it tomorrow night here on the daily broadcast. Few more minutes left. It's an open week. Even Collier, man, even David Collier not jumping on. Hey, another reason to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I think you get an alert every time we do 60 seconds of Raiderland, and you don't have to wait around. It goes right to you, and you can have that little alert thing that goes off and goes ding, ding, ding. You go, hey, we need to check that out. Hey, let's all tonight, in all seriousness, talking about weather people and getting people killed. I fear people are going to die tonight in South Florida. I fear people did not get out of the way of this hurricane the way they probably should. And pray for them, pray for their families, pray for everybody down there in South Florida, the responders that have to deal with that, everybody else. I don't get it. We get like 45 minutes warning on a tornado around here. We get our butts in the ground. I don't get the idea of I got 3 or 4 days to get out of the way of something, and I don't do it. I don't understand it. I understand the devastation. I understand what happened. I get that. But the human loss of life, we should never lose a person to a hurricane. We should never do it. I don't understand that for the life of me. So pray for them, pray for those people and everything, and healed recovery on that. Because, I'm about to be done with this. We'll get this stuff put together. I'll turn it on tonight. I'm going to watch it. It's weather porn, and I'll watch it. But it just makes me sick at my stomach that we lose people. And I'm not talking about what happened in Western Carolina and Georgia. The flooding on that's different. I'm talking about the initial hurricane. I'm talking about the initial storm surge that comes in, where they tell you it's going to hit right here. Get your ass out here. I don't understand it, people. Wears me out. All right. If you guys could and want to share this, put it out there on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it may. We're going to archive it like we do everything at the website, theraiderland.com. Looking forward to seeing you guys there in the morning. We got to hit this button right here. It's the one that ends the whole thing. And then we have to strike a seductive pose at the end of the night, and that's never easy.